Well, hello folks. My name is John Kurt. I have a little drafting service that I call Imagine What here in Houston, Texas. And what I'm doing today is I'm creating a video, pretty much a tutorial, on how to convert a 2D drawing into a 3D drawing using my program, TurboCAD, which is the 2019 version Pro Platinum. And I get a lot of questions sometimes about REVIT and other programs, and I want to say to any of my customers or potential customers that there are like 300 or more CAD programs available out there. Some of them are even free, and each one of them does its CAD thing a little bit different. And so I oftentimes get requests for, well, do you draw in Autodesk, or do you draw in Inventor, or do you draw in SolidWorks? And each one of these programs is very expensive, and you can't be an expert at all the software programs out there, and you can't own them all. I actually had an owner that every time he got a new customer, he decided to buy new software. Well, it was eating them up, and it nearly put him out of business. And so I had to make a decision many years ago when I wanted to learn how to draw in 3D. What program can I purchase that is a good, solid program and affordable? And I had to look at not only the original purchase price, but how much does it cost to keep it updated. And even the updates on my program here are they're not cheap, but they're certainly not what SolidWorks is, or Inventor is, or some of the other platforms. So, and they're always coming out with new platforms. So the long and short is you got to make a line in the sand, decide where you're going to work in. And I work in a program that will allow me to do most things for an affordable price. And for example, here I'm working in TurboCAD right now, but let's say I did have somebody who wanted something saved in REVIT. If you come down here and I save it, I have all kinds of formats I can save it to. Okay, there's 3DM, 3DS, ACES, DAE, DWG is one of the most popular ones. That's AutoCAD 2D. DXF is Drawing Exchange. That works for a lot of people. You got IGES. You've got STP, STL. So there's a number of different programs available, formats that I can save it in. Chances are you're going to have, if you have a different program than me, you're going to have one of these formats that you're going to be able to import. So I can still give you the program in your particular format, although it's rarely never needed, because the long and short is usually what you're looking for is the drawing itself or the model. If I give you a model, if we're making parts, and I'll go here to my website. This is my website. You can find it at www.imaginewhathouston.com, and on this website you can find some of my work. For example, this trailer here is that was a model that I did for somebody, and I set it in an environment. Obviously it's not on a beach, it's never been built, but we could build this particular trailer to this model. Now, more common application for 3D models, if you look over here to this picture, to the right of the trailer is tooling. Okay, when I draw something up, the machine shop doesn't ask me for something in SolidWorks or in AutoCAD. What they say, can you send me a step file? 9 out of 10 machine shops want a step file. They can drop that into their CMM machine and or I'm sorry, CADD machine, and it will automatically take all my measurements and dimensions and geo marks and so on and so forth, and convert it into what it needs. So usually the most important thing for any machine shop is a step file. They don't even want the 2D drawings anymore with the dimensions on it. They don't need it. They just want the step file. So that's generally what I give. Now for rendering for presentation, something like down here, I set this up because I wanted to be able to illustrate how I could switch colors of things so people can get an idea. Right now I've got the refrigerator and the cabinets in a blue, but I set it up so I can change the color at just one click, and that's so that a customer can see what different colors would look like if they're remodeling their kitchen. And here's a typical floor plan. So anyway, what I wanted to point out is I'm putting some tutorials like this one here on the website. So if you go to imaginewhathouston.com, I have this little area here called CAD Work Tutorial by Imagine What, and you can find me on YouTube by searching CAD Works. And anyway, you can find different. I'm hoping to have a number of different videos available. And getting back to my drawing over here. Okay, so what I did to start with is I had to start with a 2D floor plan. So I downloaded and again, this is a tutorial, so I'm trying to make it as simple as possible. I just downloaded a very simple 2D house floor plan, and what I'm going to do is trace it. So I have a couple steps I have to do before I get to that point, but as you can see, there's the actual drawing that I've got as an underlay, and I'm going to trace over it. Okay, so now when I brought the drawing in to my program, it was a completely different size than what it is, and so I had to scale it. And the way I scale my objects are I take a known dimension. So here in the drawing itself, it says I got a 9 by 10 foot room, so I drew a 9 by 10 inch rectangle, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to scale it, the drawing, based on these dimensions right here, and so that's what I did. In my particular program, I've got these scaling factors here. So if I want to scale something, for example, I can scale X, I can scale Y, I can scale Z, or I can come over here and I can check off keep all aspect ratios. That means if I put one, if I double the size of this thing, which I'll do right now, to oops. Okay, you can see it got quite a bit larger. Okay, so I'm going to put it back to what it was. Okay, that's how you scale. So then what I did is I ran some basic dimensions, just so we got some idea of what we're looking at. But the long and short is I just trace over what we got here, and I'm good to go. So if I flip to a 3D view, you're going to see I've got walls here. Okay, I just went and traced around. I didn't do the garage because I'll do that for you right now, and so you can see how it works. So I go to my top view, and I'm going to go to architecture up here, and then I'm going to go wall, Now I already set this wall parameter up to be the exterior of the house. Okay, but what we're going to find out when we do this is that, oh, I already changed it. That's good. Okay, so I have a properties here where I can change. Right now I've got the thickness of the wall at 6 inches. Over here for the house it's actually 8 inches, and I can put the height at 8 foot, 9 foot, 10 foot, whatever I want. Okay, so again, going back over here, all I'm going to do is trace it out. Whoops, I went to the wrong place. So I'm going to go back one step, go to there. Okay, finished. So, okay, now I have the garage walls, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and fill in for windows and door openings and so on and so forth, and then we'll go ahead and we'll hide the PDF here. We'll do that over in layers. So if I go exterior wall, whoops, I didn't put it on a layer yet, so let's do that. Right now it's on 0 layer, we don't want it there, so we're going to go underlay, and then I'm going to go, it's on 0 right now, so I'm going to go to underlay. Now if I want to turn it off, I just make it invisible. Okay, and as you can see, you know, we got our 3D drawing started. Okay, if I go back to tracing it, I'm going to go back and turn it on again. Okay, but that's the start to converting a 2D drawing into a 3D, and we'll continue with this, and we'll actually finish it, and I'll show you what it looks like modeled, and we'll go from there. I'll be back in just a minute. I gotta reset some parameters here, and we'll continue in just a second. Alright, well, I didn't want to waste a lot of time by tracing everything out while we're doing the video, so I went ahead and traced out all the walls. So what we're doing here is we're looking at a 2D drawing, and we're going to convert it to 3D. So what I've done so far, as you can see, we've got all the walls drawn in. I'm going to go ahead and render it so that you can actually see that, and I'm going to have to turn off the underlay. Okay, so we've now got all the walls drawn. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to do all the doors and openings. Okay, so what we do there is we'll go back to wireframe, world plan, and what we'll start doing is selecting openings. Okay, we can do doors or we can do windows first. I think we'll do the windows first. So I'm going to come up here and There we got a window. Obviously I'm going to have to set up properties, and the window sizes, yada yada yada. So I will do that, and I will be back in just a few. Okay, I'm back. Here we are with our 2D drawing again. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the underlay, and you can see that we have all the inner walls drawn now, and we've got some windows. And just so you can see what that looks like, we'll go to a view here, and I'll go ahead and render it. So as you can see, I got windows. I'm missing a few because these original windows were half round windows, and the rest of them will be rectangular. So I'll go ahead and put those in now, and then you'll be able to see how a window gets set up. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to wireframe, go back to a plan view, turn on our PDF, and as you can see, we still got some windows here. These areas right here, and like over the sink in the kitchen, those are going to require different types of windows. Here in the back, we've actually got sliders, and so I'll probably go with the slider and two rectangular windows here. Here in the bedroom, we've got a slider that goes out to the deck. So we got a few windows yet to do, but in any case, I'm going to go ahead and go to architecture, and then I'm going to go window. I'm going to drop a window in here, and I'm going to show you it doesn't. I'm going to have to adjust the properties here. Alright, we're going to take a look at it from, well, here's the window we put in right here. It was in the kitchen over the sink, but it's the wrong type of window, so I'm going to go ahead and change it. Come over here to selector information, and as you can see, here I'm going to hop out a little bit because I'm going to have to set up some properties, which I just realized they should be there, but they're not. So I will go ahead and do that and then be right back. Thank you. Alright, well, I figured that out, what we had an issue with, and it took me a little bit to figure it out. But what we had was an issue where we had standard wires, windows, and a special custom window. And I actually had to set up the half-round windows as a separate item, because what was happening was every time I changed the let's go to this view here. Every time I went to change the style of that particular window, it would change all of them, and I didn't want that. So let's go ahead and render this here. You can see it. Okay, so what I had was I had these half-round windows here, and by the way, I changed the cursors so you can see it. I just kind of follow it around. I think it's a little easier to see when it's that purple color and a little bit larger. Anyway, so this is the window we just put in, or I just put in. It's it's in the kitchen, and it's a rectangular window. And this is the front of the house. This is going to be a covered canopy here, so I like the look of the half-round window, but I didn't think it was appropriate for these other windows here. So I'm going to go ahead and, well, what I did is to show you here. That's a standard window there. You can see here it says window style standard. I had to create a new window, whoops, for the half round window. So I now got half round and of course standard. So if I wanted to go in, I'll show you just real quick. We have the ability to create various types of scenarios. So again, they like to give you a standard. So once you modify everything, you're probably going to want to change it and give it a different name, and then you can go back to that type. But right here, I've got, for example, door styles. Okay, there's a double dung door. We do revolving door, single door. Okay, so unless I create an additional style, all my doors are going to change if I don't create a new style. So I'm going to go ahead and drop some doors in next. And again, so I don't waste your time, I'm going to go ahead and get out of this, and then I'll come back when I have all the doors in. So we're going to have doors going into from the garage, and we'll just show you here. Okay, so we're going to have a door coming in from the garage. We're going to have a front door. We're going to have some slider doors on the back, and of course all the interior doors. So when I get that done, I'll bring it back and we'll take a look at it, and I'll talk a little bit about doors. But the long and short is things have to be set up if you're doing it for the first time. And in this case, on this drawing, I'm not sure why I didn't have another style in there, because I've used these types of windows before, but for whatever reason I had to recreate it. So that confusion is now in the rear view mirror, and I'll be back in just a second. Thank you. Alright, well, I'm back. What you're looking at here on the screen is the original drawing I started with, where I was tracing out an overlay of a 2D drawing, and I was having some problems with some tools not working just right. So I went ahead and copied it over to a new template here, and now everything's working the way it should. That happens once in a while, particularly if I got a whole bunch of other programs running in the background. Sometimes something will interfere with it and it'll corrupt the file. But no harm done. It actually is a good illustration on how to fix a problem. Start over. But anyway, it was just a matter of copying and pasting. So what we got on the left was the original drawing, and as you can see, I'm going to go ahead and turn off the underlay so you can see it. That's what I drew out, and now things were getting a little complicated over in this area here with all the doors, because you got one door here, or that's an opening, I guess, and we got a door here, a door here, and a door here, and these rooms aren't that big to begin with. So what I did is I went ahead and took out a few doors, or took out a few things. I have no more closet here, and this is all part of the master bedroom. I'll decide after I put some furniture in there if I want to actually put a closet in, or if I want to do some armoires or whatever you call. But in any case, this is the same drawing. It just doesn't have the underlay on it, and because I've already traced everything out. So let's take a look at it rendered out. Okay, so this is the back side of the house here. I've added some French doors here. They had a slider here where this window is, and a slider here in the master bedroom. Well, I like the idea of the slider because there's going to be a deck back here in the back. Actually, there's a deck that almost goes around the entire house. But in any case, there's going to be a deck back here. I didn't need another set of sliders here, so I just went ahead and put in a picture window. So I got French doors in the back, double doors, and then we got slider doors into the master bedroom. When we look at it from the opposite direction, I've got a standard garage door, walk-in door, man door, whatever you call it. Here at the back of the garage, they had, in their original drawing, they had 2 single car garage doors. I never did like single car garage doors, so I went ahead and put a double garage door. And as you can see, I've got windows throughout, pretty much in the exact areas that were called out in the original 2D drawing. Now I did open it up a little bit. There was a wall that extended here in the kitchen, and again, it was one of those things I go, you know, there's a small house, I really don't need a wall there. Now maybe I'll change that and go ahead back and add it in, but for the purposes of this tutorial video, it's not necessary. I'm just trying to show that we can take a 2D drawing and actually turn it into a 3D. And I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the tools here, because, you know, obviously I had no elevations on this single 2D drawing. Now if I did have the full drawing set, I would have had some side views of the house, and I would have been able to determine how high to make the walls and so forth. But just to give you an idea of some of the tools, I'm going to go here and select this wall, and we'll show you a couple things. I'm going to go into selector information here. Okay, as you can see up here, we've identified that I've actually selected a wall. In that wall, I'm allowed to set up certain characteristics. So this is what we call a double line wall. So you got an inside and you got an outside. As you can see on the inside walls, I have them painted. I've actually even put some colored walls in there just to give it a little bit of a snap. So we've got 2 sides to each wall. If it's going to be an interior wall, I'm going to have a paint scheme on both sides, but on an exterior wall, I'm building the house out of brick. So I've got a realistic brick here for the right side material. The left side material is plain white. Okay, and the same thing applies to when I'm putting in a door, for example. So well, let's use this door here in the commode. This is a pocket door. So you can see up here, it's called pocket door. Now I could go ahead and change it to a different style door. For example, this one here is a single door. Okay, and you can go ahead and create what the widths are, what the heights are going to be, how it's going to be measured, if there's going to be a rise or no rise, things like that. So going back here, what if I made these walls 8 foot high? So here where it says thickness, or I'm sorry, height, we've got them set to 8 foot. I could have just as easily made that, let's make it 12. But I went by, it's a small house, chances are there you can see it just changed, it went to 12. So like I said, I can go ahead and set these parameters up. Now you can set them up ahead of time so that you don't have to fool around with it. And if you're drawing for example, doing this type of architecture all the time, you could have all these things set up, pre-set up, so that you don't have to set all the parameters. You can just rename things so you know what to do, and you know that it's all set up. So okay, so we got doors. By the way, this is actually a door I made, and it's called a block insertion because I made it myself, and it's actually not a door, it's called an opening. So if I wanted to, and I turned off this, I could probably do it right now. Let me see if I can. Same properties here, but usually there's a little tick mark, and for whatever reason, let's try this. There's about 6 ways of getting the properties, by the way, in this particular program. So here's openings. Okay, it's supposed to be 3D, and I should be able to turn off the property of going to another drawing, and it's not showing up here, but it does show up in a setup. It's probably over here in materials. Let's see. As you can see, we've added quite a few things since the last section of the video. I've added all floors before I started dropping furniture in. There's a lot of different ways to do that. In this case, I actually added an inlay and then gave it the hardwood floors property. Over in the bedroom here, this is actually a texture, a carpet texture, and I just colored it the same as the walls. Over in the garage is just a paint band, and I've got ceramic tiles on the floor of both the laundry room here, the guest bathroom, and the master bathroom. Alright, this is just another angle from a different direction, looking at the same thing as in the previous slide. Yeah, I got nothing else to say. It's just we'll take a look at a few of these different angles. Okay, on this slide here, it's gives a better view of not only the floors, but here you can see the tiled floors in the utility room and the second bathroom, and you can also see that I've added in a block for a commode and a sink, same style sink in both bathrooms. Here is just a different perspective, but one thing I will say about adding all this furniture and so forth, you start building up the size of your file very rapidly, and rendering slows down dramatically, which is why I'm doing some slides here, because now as I drop in each one of these blocks, I'm adding just a ton of information, and it's the file size is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And in this slide, I went ahead and dropped in a sofa set and a couple more blocks that you probably can't see, but anyway, we're filling the house with furniture and seeing how it actually fits. These are all actual size pieces of furniture, so you can actually see where they will fit and where they won't. On this slide you can see we just added a nice bureau. This is one that I downloaded. It was in step file format, so I had to blow it all apart and go ahead and regroup everything and then add properties, because step, as I said, when you import it and you try to render it, it just looks like a gray blob. and so to take advantage of being able to use the TurboCAD rendering properties, I got to actually explode it a little bit and put things into groups. So talking about importing objects, CAD models, I use a site called GrabCAD quite a bit. But this speaks to why it really doesn't matter what program you're working with, whether it's CAD or whether it's Inventor or Autodesk. There's ways to import these files and to render them. You have to learn how to do it, but in most cases it can be done, and you can come up with a perfectly beautiful rendering like what you're seeing here. I think the next step in my process is I'm going to start working on this kitchen area here and getting a sink in. I'm probably going to have to draw that myself, simply because it'll be easier to draw than it will be to try to find something that will fit. So what we're looking at here, if you look over in the kitchen area over by that red refrigerator, is I started building the wash basin in the kitchen, and it's a hybrid because I actually imported a unit that looked very similar to that, but there was only a couple components I could actually blow up and actually render, so most of it I scrapped, but I was able to use the actual faucet itself in the pan area, the countertop, and the actual cabinet it sits on. I had to start from scratch and draw them myself, but it's no big deal. The hard part would have been doing the faucet. Okay, now if you look at the kitchen sink, you can see the I put a dishwasher to the left of it and extended the counter all the way back to the wall. Now the next logical thing to do, if I wanted to pursue it, would be to start hanging cabinets and working on a cooking aisle, probably a cooking island out in the center of the kitchen, probably off that red closet wall. But I may never get that far. I'll be tinkering with this for quite a long time. As I said, it takes a lot of work to get these things rendered properly. So I'll probably stop with one more addition. So my wife walked in as I was working on it, and she says, "Oh, you need to put some curtains up." So, okay. I put some curtains up, but I'm not going to do every window. But in any case, as I said, this is not a bad little project for taking a 2D floor plan and turning it into a 3D model. And of course, you can build to this. This is very similar to working in REVIT, the AutoCAD program. I've never worked with REVIT, so I don't know how easy or how difficult it is to work with, but I'm sure it's a very good program. But as I said, you got to draw a line in the sand, and so I'm working with this program here. And so anyway, it's been fun doing this. If you have any questions, go to my website, imaginewhathouston.com, and contact me if you have any special requests, or if you got any work for me to do. Obviously that's why I do this, is get some exposure. But anyway, it's been fun, and we'll talk to you in the next video. Thanks. Well, I couldn't help myself. I just had to put that roof on. It actually looks pretty good. The long and short is, Revit's not the only program that can convert drawings from 2D into 3D renderings. In addition to architecture, TurboCAD also does 3D modeling in mechanical as well. 2D dimensioning is done in the drafting palette with TurboCAD Platinum. Landscaping will be the next part of this project, and I thank you very much for